everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. 2,500 point battle report number 20. It is I, Lord Tremendous of the Ogre Cons, versus Demonic Orchid of the Orcs and Goblins. Many of you will recognize that name, and many of you will not. So, 50-50, I suppose. Maybe more, maybe less. But he's a buddy of mine. I was out in Dallas and hooked up with him. We were able to get a couple of games in. It's his 9th age maiden voyage, I guess is how we can call it. It's the first time he's ever played the 9th Age. But he's a old pro at 8th edition fantasy and all that other stuff. So it's not a difficult game for him to pick up. But he threw a list together, and we went over to his local store, and we played ourselves a couple of games. And this is the first of two. So sit back, relax, and get ready for Kermit the Frog here to tell you guys how it went. Here's my list, and not a whole lot of changes to my list, but a couple of model changes. As you can see, I have a new Great Shaman, Kaka Shabadu. He's still level 3 wizard, with Screaming Swords, Demonic Heart, Talisman of Greater Shielding, and the Path of Butchery. But, I saw this guy online. I think he's from an Italian modeling company. I'm not 100% on that. And I had to have him. And at first, he was just going to be a tribesman, but he was too cool after I put him together. So now I have a new Kaka Shabadu, and personally, I love this guy. Next up for my hero choices, I have my Khan. He's my BSB. He's got the Flesh Render, Mithril Mail, Talisman of Lesser Protection, and Rotten Jaw. Next up, I have my Shaman, the Combustor. He's a level 2 wizard with the Skull Splitter and Path of Fire. Last but not least, I have my Mammoth Hunter, Lord Tremendous. He's got an Ogre Crossbow, the Heart Ripper, Yeti Furs, Gem of Dragonfire, Troll Eater, and he's on his trusty Tusker War Teddy. I'm sorry, I just like saying that. War Teddy. Starting off my core choices, I got a unit of 7 tribesmen with, the good old boys, with Banner, Musician, Iron Fist, and Heavy Armor. This is where my BSB goes. I have a unit of 5 tribesmen, the Inner Council, with Banner, Musician, Iron Fist, Heavy Armor, and the Banner of Discipline. As you can see, I also have new models for these guys, and I love the way they look. If you're interested, I will put the link to the model company that makes these, so you guys can go there and get them too if you want them. They're reasonably priced, very cool. I love that they're metal. I know a lot of people don't like metal. I love that they're metal, and man, they look so good. I cannot wait for my wife to paint them up. And last but not least, my core choices are my 4 bruisers, the dour ones. And yeah, these guys are the unsung heroes of my army. Starting off my special choices are my 5 Scrappling Trappers, the favored pets. And yes, I finally only have 5 of them. Well, I shouldn't say it like that, but the picture matches the actual unit. And of course, I have my 6 mercenary veterans, the Storm of Retribution. They have a Banner, Musician, Iron Fists, Lethal Strike, Thunderous Charge, and the Banner of Speed. If this unit charges you, get ready to pick up your models. I love these guys. And then I have my Kin Eater, Lady Elizabeth. And yes, this is a new model as well. I saw this at the store that Demonic Orchard took me to, and I really liked it. And I thought, you know what? This would be a cool model to use as a new Lady Elizabeth. I have the money, bought it. She's not in this game or the next one, but she's in. She'll be featured in Battle Report number 22, I believe. So there is that. But yes, I think she looks very cool. Then for my last special choice, I have 3 Tusker Cavalry with Musicians, Great Weapons, and Heavy Armor. I wanted to try something new, and so I am. I threw these guys out in the list just to see if I like them, see if they work for me and stuff like that. And if they do, cool. If not, I will try something else. And then last, but certainly not least, is my rare choice, my Frost Mammoth Rufus. The riders got an Ogre Crossbow apiece, but man, we all know that the main attraction is the Mammoth himself, Rufus. God, I love this guy. That's gonna do it for my list. I did not get my opponent's lists. He wrote them at the last minute and forgot it at the house, so he just went off memory, and I can't take a picture of his memory. So I do kind of remember what he had, and when we go over the army, I will try to show you what he had, try to go over it. Sorry. Here are my spells, which are exactly what you're looking at. And here's deployment. He won the roll-off for side, so I deployed first, and I just threw everything down. I got my Tusker, Cav, proxies, obviously, all the way there over there on the left flank. I got my inner council with my new inner council with my new Kaka Shabadu right there on the left side in the forest. I got my Merc Vets and my tribes with my BSB Khan in the middle there with Rufus backing them up. I got Lord Tremendous on the right flank, and then I put the Combustor and the Dour ones on my right flank. They're going to shoot around past that wall and maybe come in around and get a nice little flank charge or whatever. I figured the Cav can shoot forward, and I knew he was going to put War Machines on that hill if he had any, so I figured the Tusker Cav could get over there. I'm very curious to see what happens if the Giants get into combat with them. But I don't have a whole lot of experience with orcs and goblins. In fact, I have zero experience with orcs whatsoever. I played one game against the Green Tide, and it was an all-goblin army. So this is the first time I've ever run into orcs in 9th Age. So this will be an interesting game. Here's my opponent's right flank. From left to right, there's a giant. There's 3, whatever they're called, bolt throwers. Another giant. And the guys right next to them are just regular common orcs with paired weapons. Nothing else is special about them. Here's my opponent's center. Again, from left to right, that is the same unit of common orcs, just regular, core orcs. In the middle are his biggin feral orcs with paired weapons. He's got the Stabba thing where if he charges, he does impact hits. They're strength 4, toughness 4, frenzied, crazy orcs. He's got an orc lord in that chariot there, and I don't remember. He's got the Orc-Apocalypse axe on him or something like that. And on the right there is his iron orcs, and they're just loaded to the teeth. So it's a big tide of greenskins. Here's my right flank, which consists of my bruisers and the combustor. And here's my center. From right to left, there's Lord Tremendous, there's Rufus, there's my tribesmen with my BSB, and my Merc Vets. And my left flank, which consists of my new inner council with my new Kaka Shabadu, and my proxied, very, very proxied unit of Tusker Cav. They're in stealth camouflage, so they're hard to see them for what they really are. So here's top of 1 after movement, and as I said, I got to go first, and I don't know a whole lot about the orcs, but I know that they're going to have to come after me, so I moved up. My Tusker Cav on the left flank there shot up as far as I could and kind of turned. I figured I'd charge through the forest if I had to. Dangerous terrain, whatever. Everything in the center there just shot up as far as it could, about 10 or 11 inches. I didn't want to be charged real easy, but if he charged at me and failed, it makes my next turn a lot easier. Rufus moved up to the forest, moved up 6 inches so he could shoot at some stuff through the forest. Just pot shots, why not? Lord Tremendous shot up the middle there. He marched, so he's not going to be shooting. The Combustor moved up as fast as he could. He marched, so he's not shooting. I shot the Dour ones up the right flank there, and then my Trappers on the top right there, which I completely forgot about, moved forward, or didn't move at all, because like I said, I completely forgot about them. So, yay me. During the magic phase, my opponent has no casters, and just for anybody who's watching this and stuff like that and thinking about getting into the game, if you're not already, if you make a list, bring at least 1 wizard, so at the very minimum you can add +1 to your dispels rolls and channel, maybe bring a scroll or some sort of anti-magic defense type stuff, because this happens otherwise. I got +1 strength and +1 toughness off without any real difficulty, so just let that be a life lesson for all you T9A players. Nothing else happens in my turn, so we go over here to bottom of 1 after movement, and there's been a ton. On the right flank there, his Iron Orcs charged Lord Tremendous and made it. I didn't think they would. I was wrong. His general and the big feral unit of feral orcs tried to charge my tribesmen with my BSB and failed. The other regular orcs tried to charge my mercenary vets and failed. His giant over on our left flank there charged the Tusker Cav and made it, which was very impressive. The other one runs over to the side to kind of countercharge, I guess, anything that comes down the pipe. And then his 3 bolt throwers just turn to look at my Merc Vets because they're going to do some damage. So very active magic or movement phase. There's a better picture of his Iron Orc slamming into Lord Tremendous, and I'm not feeling too froggy about that one. I didn't think they were going to make that charge. Whew. There's a better picture of his other units failing a charge, which is good. I do believe he declared the Wog to give him extra movement or something like that, or give him Swift Stride. I can't remember exactly, but he was rolling really, really low. So not so much his tactics as it was his dice in this situation. And there's a better picture of one of his giants slamming into my Tusker Cav. So that's cool. I'd like to see how they do against a giant. He has no magic phase, so we go into shooting, and his bolt throwers fire at my Merc Vets and are able to staple one to the ground. Not the nicest thing in the world, but good shooting. What can you say? Over here in combat, his giant does the thing. I can't remember what it was, but you take an initiative test, and if you fail it, you take some damage, like 2d6 damage. But I passed. I actually rolled a 1 or 2 or something like that. But yeah, they're initiative 2, so I actually passed my initiative check. They counterattack, and they were able to do 4 wounds to this thing. So far, the first combat with the Tusker Cav is successful. He charged, and he would charge downhill to my 4 wounds. So I won by 2. He was stubborn, and he stuck. Over here, it was a little less successful, I won't lie to you. I was able to do 3 wounds. That's it. He did 2 to me. So he did 2 wounds, charged, 1, 2, 3 ranks, and a banner to my 3 wounds. He won by 4. I needed a 5 to stick, and I actually did. I rolled a 5. Couldn't believe it. So at least it bought me a chance, but damn. Iron Orcs are going to end up killing this guy in combat. I'm not happy about that. So with that all said and done, we go over here to top of 2 after movement, and everybody goes in. My inner council go after the 1 giant. It was a long distance charge, and they actually made it. I've never been so proud. The Merc Vets make it into the common Orc boys, no problem. The tribesmen make it into the feral orcs because, hey, either I was going to charge them or they were going to charge me. And then Rufus slams into the iron orcs trying to bail Lord Tremendous out of this terrible, terrible situation. Other than that, the dour ones and the trappers keep trying to get around the right flank there. I way misplaced them when I deployed. Elizabeth does not come on the table. She's mad at me for the way I deployed them. And the Combustor runs up to take pot shots at his general that is in a chariot. That's about it for movement. There's a better picture of my tribesmen slamming, my tribesmen slamming into the giant, and I hope they're up to this fight. And there's a better picture of my Merc Vet slamming into the regular orcs, and my tribesmen slamming into the feral orcs. Those should both be pretty good fights. And of course, there's a better picture of Rufus trying to bail Lord Tremendous out. Man, I hope he's successful. During the magic phase, I'm able to get +1 toughness off on my tribesmen because I'm going to need it. So next we go into combat because shooting is useless, and I was able to decimate the giant. However, the giant did the thing again with the initiative check, and I failed miserably, and he was able to pulverize one of my cav. However, the remaining 2 cav were able to put the last 2 wounds on the giant and kill him. So it was a 1-for-1 trade. Not terrible, not terrible. Then over here in combat, the inner council beats this giant to death. I haven't been that impressed with this unit in a long, long time. I do take a wound. I don't recall why or how. I'm not sure if it happened when I went through the forest or what. I really don't recall. But, yeah, the giant falls, and then they turn to look at War Machine Hill, because that's where the next biggest fight's going to take place. Then over here in combat, the Merc Vets just annihilate the orcs. 3s to hit, 2s to wound. Thunder's Charge, baby. They're strength 6 on the charge. The impact hits at strength 5 were beautiful. The stomps at strength 5 were beautiful. And just the pure amount of attacks they put out obliterated the unit. Unfortunately, I needed to do 1 more wound to him in order to make him not steadfast, and I failed to do it. So he is steadfast. He does make his break check, doing almost no damage at all, if any damage, to my Merc Vets. And yeah, he's rolling really low, but that unit is just my face melter, and I loves them. Then over here, strength makes a difference. My tribesmen and everything, we do a little bit of damage to the feral orcs, and they're able to pop a base +1 wound, even past a toughness 5. So yeah, I win this combat, but they're very steadfast and they stay. Then over here, yeah, they kill Lord Tremendous. We do a lot of damage. Rufus does a lot of damage to him. Lord Tremendous is able to do a little bit, but their counterattack kills Lord Tremendous outright and puts a couple of wounds on Rufus. I think I end up winning this combat. I do win this combat, but they are steadfast and they stay. Dang. And after he makes his break check, he reforms to get more guys into combat with Rufus. And yeah, that's where we are at the end of the combat. So whew, it's going to be an uphill battle. So we go over here now to bottom of 2 after movement, and there's not much. Other than his general charging into my tribesmen, there's no movement from the Orcs and Goblins team because they're all dead or in combat, or a war machine. There's a better picture of his Orc general in a chariot slamming into my tribesman unit, and that's not good. His shooting completely flubs, so we go straight into combat, and he puts 3 more wounds on Rufus for a total of 5. I'm able to kill all but 4 of those guys, I think, of his Iron Orcs, because Rufus just tears into him because he's the man. And then Rufus breaks them, and he runs them the F down. So Lord Tremendous has been avenged by the man, the myth, the legend, Rufus, but unfortunately he could not save Lord Tremendous, which will weigh heavily on his conscience for about 12 seconds. Excellent. Then we go over into combat with the feral orcs, and I lose 2 tribesmen. My BSP ends up in a challenge against his orc war boss, and his orc war boss does 4 wounds to me, and I was able to 6 up ward save 1 of those wounds. I got very lucky. In return, I was able to put 3 wounds onto his general thanks to the flesh render being -5 to your armor save, and my opponent rolling like garbage for his ward save. My unit does a significant amount of damage to his feral orcs. However, I think I win this combat. I'm not 100% on that, but whatever happens, we stick and go into combat over here. As you can see, the mercenary veterans had no problem finishing off the common orcs. They were just outmatched. The merc vets are just insane. And then I turn to face War Machine Hill because next turn I want to charge into that unit or into that hill and take out those war machines before they figure out how to shoot and start dropping orcs left and right. So here we are, top of 3 after movement, and my Inner Council charge a bolt thrower, my Merc Vets charge a bolt thrower, everybody makes it, the dour ones and my trappers march as fast as they can around the side there trying to get into this fight. The Combustor moves forward, and I slowly take my Tusker Cav through the forest there, just trying to get them back into this fight. But at this point, I'm starting to realize they might be useless. There's a better picture of my Inner Council and my Merc Vets slamming into 2 separate bolt throwers, so that'll be nice to have those taken care of. During the magic phase, just kind of like a Hail Mary type of thing, I throw the big fireball at the bolt thrower in the middle, trying to take it out, and I almost do. I was able to do 2 wounds to it. Not enough, but very, very close. Then we go into combat, and yes, my Inner Council are able to hit and destroy the first bolt thrower. They overrun into the second. The Merc Vets take out the one that they were fighting and turn to face the combat in the center because they need to help finish off these feral orcs, and that's about it over here. So it goes very well. Over here in combat, though, it doesn't go quite as well for me. My BSB gets smoked by his Orc Warlord. I lose another base tribesman. I kill a handful of Savage Orcs. I think he ended up doing 5 wounds to 5 wounds. He's got a banner to my banner. I'm not 100%. I think either I lose by 1 or it's a drawn combat. But either way, we stick it out, and that's the way combat looks at the end. Alright, well, I didn't get a picture at the bottom of 3 after movement. I apologize for that, but there really wasn't any. I mean, it was my opponent's turn. Everything he has is in combat, and we just went straight into combat. So I didn't get a picture of how the board looked, but use your imagination, or you'll see it at top of 4. But just so that everybody understands the timeline, this is now bottom of 3. So like I said, we go straight into combat, and there's a lot of flubbing going on. The +1 toughness is huge. He does 2 wounds to my unit. I do 3 to his. With the banner and everything like that, he loses by a little bit, but his general's right there, and everybody sticks. So kind of an uneventful combat, just took a few more orcs out. So here we are on top of 4 after movement, and there's not a whole lot other than the fact that the mercenary vets charge in, and Rufus charges in. Big dog pile in the middle. At this point, I've given up on the dour ones, the scrappling trappers, and the Tusker Cav getting into this fight. My tribesmen are still in combat with his bolt thrower, which I think we just kind of forgot to do last turn. And so, yeah, that's what the board looks like at top of 4. There's a better picture of everything slamming into the middle there, just the coup de grace this combat. I skip magic because I don't want to take the chance. We go into combat, and I'm able to finish off the last bolt thrower, which is always good. We go into this combat over here, and Rufus is able to just demolish the orc general. The merc vets are able to finish off the last of the orc savage or feral orcs, and that's really the end of combat. And there it is, boys and girls. There's the end of the game. And we're going to get to the recap because there was a bunch of stuff that went wrong in this game. There was a bunch of stuff that went right. And keep in mind, this was my opponent's first game of 9th Age. He's an old vet at 8th edition, sure. But, well, we'll get to the recap in just a second because I need a break and I need to just, well, take a minute. So, yeah, listen to what Captain Picard says.
Make it so.
Alright, so as you could tell, it was a victory for Lord Tremendous. My opponent was tabled in the top of turn 4. I ended up losing my Khan, my Hunter, Lord Tremendous, and I lost half points for Rufus. Okay, like I said, this is my opponent's first game of 9th Age. I did club a baby seal. I'm not proud. However, many mistakes were made that really tilted the game in my favor. We forgot that feral orcs are frenzied, so he was shortchanging himself in attack. We also forgot that orcs get +1 strength in the first round of close combat. I haven't played orcs in about 2 years or something like that, or played against him, and I don't know if he's ever played him before or what, but we just completely forgot about it. And as we were looking through the rules at the end of the game, that's when we realized everything we did wrong. So this game was heavily skewed in my favor, and so he tweaks his list a little bit, and we have a rematch very fast, like immediately after. So the things that went well is the Tusker Cav, they took the giant down, took the charge, and were able to take him down no problem. It was pretty interesting that they were able to do that. However, afterwards, they were kind of useless the rest of the game. Maybe it was the game, maybe it was the situation. I don't know. Probably my fault. But to be perfectly honest, seeing my opponent's 2 giants made me miss mine. So I think they might get taken out for the for a giant. I'm not 100% yet. Other things, my mercenary veterans and my new inner council with Kaka Shabadu. Maybe it's the new models. Maybe it's just luck. Maybe it's Maybelline. But they were outstanding in this game, just going through everything. And so they're going to stay in the list. They're definitely staying in the list. But this game was still a lot of fun. We re-racked immediately. My opponent just doctored his list a little bit to change some stuff up, and we played again. That'll be my next battle report. My opponent is amazing. If you get a chance to play against this guy, you should. He never got salty or became a bad sport or pouted or anything. You know what I'm talking about when somebody's losing. Everybody listening to this knows exactly what I'm talking about. When somebody's losing, they get salty, cranky, pissy, whatever. Never got anything like that at all. Laughing, cracking jokes the whole time. It was very enjoyable. And when he started making a new list and playing up again and stuff like that, that just goes to show you just how addictive this game is. He just got his teeth kicked down his throat because we forgot a whole bunch of rules and everything, and he was like, let's do it again! And that's awesome. That's the kind of good sport he is. And so, yeah, the next battle report I do will be against him, and it's awesome. I really enjoy playing against this guy. Okay, guys, real quick, this is absolutely outstanding. Tabletop Miniature Solutions is doing another Indiegogo campaign. It has already made its mark, so any money you put towards this is just to get yourself some new stuff. They got a big Undying Dynasties line coming out. This is your chance to get some incredible models. First thing, right off the product line, shipping line, whatever. Ushapti, characters, skeletons. They already got a bunch of stuff anyway, but now they got even more coming out, and this is just some of the art that they've got on the site. The link will be in my description. Get into this campaign, guys. If you missed out on their movement trays and their scenic bases, too bad for you. This is your chance to right that wrong. Get into these models. If you play Undead, they're gorgeous. If you just want to support a really good group, get into this friggin' Indiegogo project. If you ever thought about maybe getting into the Undead, this is your big chance. It's a huge, great deal. They got all sorts of different levels of buy-in, and all of them, you get like almost double your money on each one. So you can't go wrong. Go check it out. You won't regret it. Alright guys, real quick, want to say another thank you to everybody that support me on Patreon and everything like that. I really appreciate it. Alex of the Veiled Renegades, South Florida's Gamermancy team, and Daniel Jolson. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for donating. And everybody else that's donated, please send me an email if you want me to put a little something up here, or at least give me permission to use your name or something like that, so I can say thanks. Really do appreciate it, guys. And let me give credit where it's due. Also, one last announcement, there's a new Facebook page for Southern Region, United States of America, 9th Age players. The link will be in the description for this video. Check it out, and check out all my other links in my description. Get you some real important sites, and get connected up to the T9A community real quick so you can start kicking ass and taking names. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Battle Report number 20 is officially in the history books. Woohoo! Yeah, I know there was some issues with the game, mostly just rules discrepancies, and I apologize for that. It was just noobness, what can I tell you? However, our next game, I promise you, is a lot closer and a lot better because we give him all of his rules, so, you know. As always, though, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.